So the Super Mario Bros. Movie was an amazing movie. There were so many references and it was insanely entertaining. It was very cool. Instead of saving the princes like in the Mario games, they're saving Luigi, and I expected them to defeat Bowser and save the Mushroom Kingdom, but I was not at all expecting them to go into the real world in Brooklyn and have to defeat Bowser and his enemies there. So the voice acting was all really great, and Chris Pratt actually sounded great as Mario, and it was cool having Charles Martinet play Mario's dad and Giuseppe. Bowser's castle looked really amazing with all the lava and so many enemies were in the movie from various Mario games. The music also was very good and a lot of different songs were included, which was awesome, but they did use the Super Mario Bros. Main theme quite a lot, which is fine. It's iconic, but I do wish they mixed it up a little bit more, but it was still very awesome. So anyways, in this video, I'll be going over each and every reference I found in the Super Mario Bros. Movie. There's over 100 different references, pretty insane and awesome, and this movie was just really great. It had a ton of great references, and I'll be noting each reference I found. Of course, this will have very major spoilers, so please make sure you've watched the movie before watching this, or wait to watch this video before watching the movie. Anyways, let's get into all the references. Okay, so first of all, in the very beginning, the minion in the cart at the opening of the movie, obviously a Mario Kart reference, and referencing Illumination Studios with the minion driving a cart with the design similar to the Despicable Me movies. The Illumination logo then lights up with the theme that plays in Mario Kart games at the start of races when the timer is counting down. And then the cart stuttering and breaking down could also be a reference to Mario Kart games where you have to start stepping on the gas when the timer reaches 2, and if you do it too early, your cart will break down for a moment. So next, the opening where it shows the Nintendo logo is obviously a reference to the original Super Mario Bros. With the character designs, although the color palettes for Mario and Luigi are updated to their modern designs, and this also has the Area Clear jingle from the original game. So next, in the scene at the beginning where Bowser is invading the Penguin Ice Fortress, the spike balls that drop down could be a reference to the various spike balls in Mario games, such as Super Mario Bros. 3, World, 64, New Super Mario Bros., and Super Mario Odyssey. And also the music playing here is a version of the airship theme from Super Mario Bros. 3. Then next, when the Koopas roll out of Bowser's ship, you can see ones with red and green shells, being a reference to the different types of Koopas in the games, and also the Mario Kart items. And then there's also the Blue Shell Koopa, who's the leader of the Koopas, and of course this is referencing the Blue Shell from Mario Kart. And then next, so the ice fortress with the penguins inside, this could be a reference to various ice fortresses and castles in Mario games, and instead of being a fortress with enemies in it, it's the opposite, with the enemies trying to take down the fortress. This could also be a reference to Shiver City from Paper Mario, which is an ice village that also has blue penguins. And it's also similar to Snowman's Land as well from Mario 64 without having blue penguins too. So next up, the Super Mario Bros. Plumbing ad, of course, is a reference to the Mario Bros. Super Show from the late 80s. And it has the opening theme song of the show play in their ad too, which also samples the original Super Mario Bros. Theme song. And in the background in the ad by the oven, there's a container or a bottle that's red and has a white exclamation mark. And this looks just like the red switch in the Switch Palace in Super Mario World, which you hit to toggle red platforms to become solid in the world. And the part in the ad where they pretend to be flying is referencing the Cape power-up from Super Mario World. And then in the next scene where Mario and Luigi are watching their ad in the restaurant, there's many pictures, and these are of course referencing the Punch-Out games. There's pictures of various boxers, and there's also a duck drawing on the wall from Duck Hunt. Here there's a small flag on the table behind Luigi next to the white mug, which is referencing the flagpoles from Mario games. And then when Mario asks about the accents in the ad, Giuseppe, who is voiced by Charles Martinet, says, "It's perfect, wahoo!" and then jumps like in the original Donkey Kong game. And he's also dressed like Mario from the original arcade game, with the red hat and overalls with the blue shirt. He's also playing an arcade game called Jumpman. This is of course referencing Mario's original name, and the game is just Donkey Kong but with different colors. And you can hear the sound effects from Donkey Kong where Mario jumps over a barrel too. And then in the next part, so Spike is a reference to Foreman Spike in the Wrecking Crew game, who is the foreman of the demolition site where Mario and Luigi work at, and he tries to hinder the brothers' progress. And this is of course very similar to the movie, and he also has a Wrecking Crew hat. And then next up, so Mario says, "You can't be scared all the time," and then Luigi says, "You'd be surprised." So of course this is referencing Luigi's trait of being scared a lot, such as in Luigi's Mansion games. And then when Luigi gets a phone call on his phone, their icon is in the shape of a me. And also, I didn't include this originally, but I've heard apparently Mario's phone ringtone in this part is the GameCube startup screen jingle. And then, of course, the restaurant they were in is called Punch-Out Pizzeria, which is an obvious reference to Punch-Out and explains the pictures and articles from Punch-Out on the wall. And also in the scene as well is Sunshine Travel Agency, and this is a reference to Super Mario Sunshine, where Mario travels to Isle Delfino, and the dolphin logo referencing the dolphins that are in Super Mario Sunshine. Also, the music in the scene is No Sleep Till Brooklyn by the Beastie Boys, which is fitting for the scene. It is Brooklyn after all. But the original song here was Press Start, which is on the official soundtrack, which references several different Mario songs in it. And then as Mario and Luigi are going through the construction zone to reach the person who called them for plumbing, the layout of the blocks and items in this frame are very similar to the blocks in the original Super Mario Bros. And also in this scene, right next to that, there's a sign with Mario from the Game & Watch game, Mario Cement Factory, and he's holding a shovel which is fitting for the construction zone. And then Mario runs along a girder, which is a reference to the original Donkey Kong game. Then, once Mario gets out of the construction zone, he slides down the pole just like the gold pole in Mario games, and the sound effect for that plays. And of course, the restaurant there is called Castle Burger, with that being a reference to the castle next to the flagpole in the original Super Mario Bros. And then in the fancy apartment, a piano version of the Super Mario Bros. Theme plays, and I've also heard there's a purple Pikmin hidden somewhere in this scene. And then in the bathroom, while trying to evade the dog, Mario does his wall jump from the games. And then in the shower, one of the bottles says Shine, and this is probably a reference to Super Mario Sunshine and the Shine sprites you can get. And then the guy sitting and reading in the fancy apartment is reading a book that says Galaxy. Of course, this is a reference to Super Mario Galaxy. And then the next scene here, when the Mario Brothers return home. So the texture on the walls here is probably a reference to some blocks, I think from Super Mario Bros. 3 or the original Super Mario Bros. This is a texture that's on some of the blocks. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I know I've seen this before. And then at the dinner table, so the texture on the salad bowl, this is a reference to the Tostarena Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey, and the markings are also on the large floating pyramid in that game. And of course the Mario family, they're eating spaghetti with mushrooms, and of course the mushrooms are referencing all the mushrooms there in the Mushroom Kingdom. And then Mario's dad is voiced by Charles Martinet. People have also said that he looks very similar to Talon from Zelda Ocarina of Time as well. And then behind the table, there's a blue Joy-Con looking thing with the analog stick and a D-pad. It might be a Nintendo Switch, I'm not sure. And then also Mario's parents were based off designs from unused sketches from Nintendo, with his dad being very close to the original design and his mom having a few changes. And in Mario's bedroom, of course, he's playing Kid Icarus on his NES. And then there's a tennis racket by the wall, which is referencing the Mario tennis games. Next to the TV that's playing news, there's pictures that look very similar to the box arts of tennis and golf on the NES, and above the TV is the R-Wing from the Star Fox games. And then on the back of the wall in the bedroom, you can see there's a poster that's of F-Zero. And then on the news, you can see Pauline, who is the mayor of Brooklyn, on TV. Then in the next scene where Mario and Luigi go out through flooded Brooklyn to try to save Brooklyn. So there's a store or restaurant here, has the logo of the duck from Duck Hunt. Then as Mario and Luigi travel through the sewers, there's different Mario levels that have taken place underground or in sewers, so that could be reference to those. And then, when Mario and Luigi crash through the wall in the sewer, the hole in the wall is in the shape of 8-bit Mario's head. And then, when Mario and Luigi are exploring underground in the sewer, there's a sign that says Level 1-2, of course referencing the second level from Super Mario Bros., and a small part of the music from that level plays as well. Then finally, Mario and Luigi travel through a warp pipe, also showing how the warp pipes in games actually work. This explains how warp pipes can quickly take you to another faraway location. Also in this scene, the pink clouds could be a reference to the ending of Super Mario 3D World, where the characters they travel through a clear pipe with similar pink clouds surrounding it. Also, this scene shows the warp pipes can split and lead to different locations, pretty similar to the clear pipes in Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. Then when Mario enters the Mushroom Kingdom, so you can see Cheep Cheeps in the water, and the music here is also another rendition of the Super Mario Bros. Main theme, with a choir singing it to make it even more grand. And then when Mario meets Toad, the music playing in the scene is a rendition of the Captain Toad theme from various Mario games. And this Toad isn't exactly Captain Toad, but he's very similar because he has a backpack just like Captain Toad. And then here you can see these creatures here. These are Bitty Buds from Super Mario 3D Land and 3D World. And then this enemy here is a Bramball. They move with their suction cup-like feet and legs, which are composed of brambles performing handstands as they go. And then next to Toad, there's a classic brick rock from Super Mario Bros. On the grass. And on Toad's backpack, you can see there's a pin with an image of Peach's castle. Then when the scene switches over to Luigi, so the piano music early in the scene with Luigi seems to be referencing Super Mario Galaxy's Deep Dark Galaxy that has similar spooky dark piano tones. And the scene also is very reminiscent of the Luigi's Mansion games. Luigi is scared and exploring dark areas with a flashlight and has similar creepy music as well. And then of course here you see the classic Dry Bones. Now they have fire in their eyes when they're in attack mode, and as usual when defeated they come right back up within seconds. And then right behind Luigi, there's the Shy Guys with their red outfits and white masks, but there is one Shy Guy that has a black mask and looks like some sort of gas mask. Then as Mario enters the Mushroom Kingdom, a version of the Fossil Falls or credits theme from Super Mario Odyssey plays. And then this shot here, this could be a reference to the various bonus levels in Mario games where you hit blocks to get extra coins or power-ups after finishing a level, and this also has a bonus level or Toad House music from Super Mario Bros. 3. And also in the back here, you can see there's a crazy cap store, which is from Super Mario Odyssey. And then there's a Toad here who's carrying a Cheep Cheep in a bag of water, similar to like getting goldfish in bags you win at fairs, and the music in the scene, again, is another rendition of the original Super Mario Bros. Theme. And here you can see an antique store. This has many different Mario power-ups, including P-Wings, Super Bells, keys, boomerangs, P-switches, and others. And there's a hammer in a display case, as well as above the store, and this is probably a reference to the hammer suit in Super Mario Bros. 3. And also the yellow Toad picks up what looks to be an NES cartridge, and asks if it works, and the red Toad replies, yes, you just need to blow into it, which is of course referencing the tradition of people blowing into their NES carts to try and make them work better. And then the various construction Toads around town, these are very similar to the ones in Super Mario Maker 2 and the other various Mario games. And there's a line map on the top here, which shows which ways things go in the kingdom. Also has icons from Super Mario Bros. 3, and this map on the right has a map of the whole kingdom in a similar style to the Super Mario World map. And then here, these binoculars, these could be referencing binoculars in various Mario games such as Odyssey, where you can go up to them and then zoom in and see very far away places. This warp pipe scene here shows the clear pipes from Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. They aren't as safe as they look in the games. And then the theme that plays here in the scene where Mario tries to find the right pipes to go through, this is the P-Switch theme from various Mario games. And then in front of the castle, the theme that starts to play is the classic Inside the Castle Walls theme from Super Mario 64. And then the guard Toad says, our princess is in another castle, of course referencing the original Super Mario Bros., where you'd reach the end of the world and the Toad would say that, and you had to keep adventuring because it was the wrong castle, and you had to try to find the princess. And then here the music that briefly plays when Toad distracts the guard Toads with his frying pan and fire. This is Peronza Plaza from Mario Odyssey, and this is especially fitting because that kingdom is centered around food, and frying pans too are quite prevalent. So here there's several different islands on this map, with the Mushroom Kingdom in the castle, a desert land with pyramids similar to various desert levels in Mario games, the Donkey Kong themed island that they visit later, and 2 lava flowing Bowser islands, and another grassy island which is likely the Yoshi island. There's a painting on the wall here with 2 toads in an area with lots of fire flowers, and this is most likely foreshadowing and referencing the future scene where Mario and Peach are in the fire flower field. There's also a painting in the back here that looks like some grass cliffs, a beach, and some water, and this is possibly a reference to the Seaside Kingdom in Mario Odyssey, as it looks quite similar. These things here, these are very similar looking to the pink and gold super crowns from New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which turned Toadette into Peachette. And then, right as Peach grabs onto the gold pole, the music transitions into a version of the classic Area Clear jingle from Super Mario Bros. And also in the scene after this where Mario attempts the obstacle course, holding out for a hero plays, but the original song that was supposed to play in this part was World 1-1, which is on the official soundtrack of the movie and contains several Mario music references. And then here, Mario of course does the classic jump pose from Super Mario Bros. And other Mario games. In the next part, the Dry Bones band here is playing the awesome song from Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, the self-titled Bowser's Fury song that plays when Bowser awakens in the game. And you can see there's many different types of enemies here, including bats, buzzy beetles, hammer bros, sledge bros, shy guys, bob-ombs, goombas, spinies, chain chomps, piranha plants, and others. So many enemy references in this scene. And then here we see Baby Mario and Luigi, which of course we've seen in many different Mario games. And then these toads here, they play the Area Clear jingle from the original Super Mario Bros. And after this, another rendition of Inside the Castle Walls from Mario 64 plays. And then as they go on an adventure, the cannon here and the wide open field with the island in the sky, of course, reference to bob-omb Battlefield in Super Mario 64. Very similar layout with the cannon and everything. Next part, the boardwalk with the Cheep Cheeps jumping across is a reference to World 2-3 in the original Super Mario Bros., where you walk across a boardwalk and there's Cheep Cheeps jumping across that you need to avoid. And also I will note, part of this scene was cut, as in the trailer you can see Peach struggling to remove the Cheep Cheep from Mario's face, but this was cut, likely for time. Next up, we see the Sand Kingdom from Mario Odyssey with the palm trees, floating upside down pyramids, cactuses, and platforms in the sand, and there's also a large hole in the ground in the middle where you could fall into an underground area in Super Mario Odyssey. This next part, there's many Yoshis in the background here, and this is probably Yoshi's Island, and maybe we will see more Yoshis in sequels potentially later. So Bowser and Kamek play another rendition of the 1-2 underground theme from Super Mario Bros. And also on the piano at some point it does say made by Ludwig von Koopa, and this is of course a reference to the Koopaling Ludwig as well as Ludwig van Beethoven. Peach's outfit here strongly resembles the Fire Flower outfit she wears when she gets a Fire Flower in various Mario games, such as 3D World. And then this flashback scene shows Baby Peach, which we have seen in some Mario games, arriving into the Mushroom Kingdom, strongly suggesting that she originally came from the real world and explaining how she would become Princess of the Mushroom Kingdom. And I've thought about making a Mario timeline, but there's way too many games and stuff, and it would be crazy and take forever. But if I would, this would probably be at the very beginning, because this is basically how the Mushroom Kingdom started. I mean, it was already existed before, but this is basically, I would put this at like the very beginning of Mario lore. And then the next part in the Fire Flower field, so it's kind of an obvious reference in a way, but not super direct. Peach says there's a lot of galaxies while looking up at the stars. Of course, you know, this is probably a Super Mario Galaxy reference. These Bowser statues here, very similar looking to the Bowser statues in Bowser Kingdom and Super Mario Odyssey, along with several other Mario games. And then in the cage here, this is of course a Luminally. These are very similar to Lumas, and these originate in Super Mario Galaxy, where they sell various power-ups in exchange for star bits. They're usually quite friendly, but this one has a very dark and morbid sense of humor, sort of playing the classic movie trope of subverted innocence, which takes a pure and innocent character and makes it take a darker purpose or meaning, which this does by taking this cute, innocent-looking character and making it say dark things, but it's still very funny, so I can't complain. Also, the Luminally holds and blows on a pinwheel toy, which could be a Mario Galaxy reference, because there's pinwheels in Gusty Garden Galaxy that blow wind, and Mario can use those to get to higher areas. And also, as a pinwheel falls, it makes the same sound that Lumas sometimes make when you talk to them in Super Mario Galaxy. And then the music that plays at the beginning of the scene where Mario and Peach and Toad head to meet with Cranky Kong, this is a slowed down rendition of DK Island Swing. And then, in the scene where the blonde gorilla drives Mario, Peach, and Toad to go meet Cranky Kong, of course Take On Me by Aha plays. This is a great, catchy 80s song, but contrary to what some people say, it does fit the scene with the fast pace, but the original song that was supposed to play in the scene was Drivin' Me Bananas, which is on the official soundtrack, and this song is a great rendition of the title theme of Donkey Kong Country, and would have worked very well for the scene, but Take On Me was cool as well, so... And this scene here could be a slight reference to the minecart levels in Donkey Kong Country games, where you ride in the minecart along a narrow path, but of course here it's more in the Mario Kart style with the cart. And then the banana peel here, of course, reference to banana peels in Mario Kart games that slip other drivers and cause them to crash. Yet another Mario Kart reference, as the cart is falling, the glider deploys, and they coast to safety. So Cranky Kong seems more youthful in this movie, and he's king of the Donkey Kong land and commander of the army, unlike the games where he's retired and gives advice and sells items. This could also be earlier on than in the games, because this movie serves as an origin story for the Mario brothers, and he could have retired later after being king. So people have said they changed up his character, which is true in a way, but I really see this as like an origin story for the Mario Bros. So this would go before a lot of the games, because this is where they first go into the Mushroom Kingdom. So he's retired later, so it would just make sense. So like this is what he did before, and then later he retired. It just gives advice. He was more chill, and of course he looked older. But this is like earlier on where he commanded the army, and then later he would go on to retire, and that's where we see him in the games. So basically everything that takes place in this movie takes place before more of the games. And then in the lead up to the Donkey Kong and Mario fight scene, various Kongs can be seen in the crowd, and the girders that they fight on is a reference to the original Donkey Kong arcade game. Then the iconic DK rap from Donkey Kong 64, composed by Grant Kirkhope, which they didn't put in the credits for some reason, but they should have. That plays in the scene as Donkey Kong comes out to fight Mario. Very fitting for an introduction song for Donkey Kong. And then you can see Diddy Kong continues to shout DK as Cranky Kong tells everyone to simmer down. And then there's also Dixie Kong and Chucky Kong next to him. Honestly, I'm surprised an entire stadium actually got mostly quiet, because if this were real life, you know those people would not be quiet just because some person was yelling to shut up. There's also ladders in this arena, just like in the original Donkey Kong, that led up to the next girders, but the girders are in a lot more randomized position in the movie than the game. And then there's a Kong here with a t-shirt with the number 64 on it. This is probably a reference to Donkey Kong 64 or just a Nintendo 64 in general. And then Donkey Kong says, "It's on like Donkey Kong," referencing the popular saying that people have said to reference the Donkey Kong arcade game. Also, I've heard that apparently Nintendo trademarked this saying, according to Kit and Krista podcast, so that's interesting. I don't know if they still have copyright, but I feel like I've heard that in a lot of things, and it's kind of iconic and infamous too. Then here, Mario gets a mini mushroom, which is from New Super Mario Bros., and he doesn't realize that it shrinks him, just like in the game. And then Donkey Kong does this iconic roll move, just like he can use to defeat enemies in the Donkey Kong Country games. And then Donkey Kong starts throwing barrels at Mario, just like in the original arcade game. And Mario gets a Super Bell from the question mark block and turns into Cat Mario from Super Mario 3D World. This gives him super fast reflexes and the ability to swipe with his claws. And then finally, as Donkey Kong's falling after being defeated by Mario, the game start jingle from the original Donkey Kong arcade game plays. And I'll mention, since there are some floating blocks in this game, one of the directors of the movie, Aaron Horvath, explained why blocks float in the Mushroom Kingdom, and he said, "Our idea was that there's a mineral that's natural to the Mushroom Kingdom, which we call floatanium, because it sounded funny to us, so Toads mine it and transform it into these blocks and use them for construction purposes." So yeah, this explains why the blocks actually float. And then the hut that they go into after the battle, this is very similar in design to Donkey Kong's treehouse in the Donkey Kong Country games, and it's made out of wood and a straw roof with small windows. And there's also a rocking chair outside of the hut that's very similar to in the games where Cranky Kong sits, so this is probably where he sits and does some fishing, as there's a fishing pole next to the chair. You can see in the wall on the left, there's a picture of Funky Kong on a surfboard, and then the map in the middle is very similar looking to the world map in Super Mario World. And then the music that plays in the kart building scene is a rendition of the main menu music that plays in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe. And then the kart selection wheels, these are a direct reference to Mario Kart games, where you pick each part of the kart you want to make by swiping and selecting each part. And you can also see the button for confirming their kart selections is a giant A button. Just like with Nintendo controllers, you press the A button in Mario Kart games to confirm your kart selection. Then Bowser puts on the white wedding hat from Super Mario Odyssey, along with holding the Piranha Plant bouquet from Mario Odyssey. And then in the racing scene here, in the back behind Mario, Funky Kong from Mario Kart Wii and several Donkey Kong games is riding in a cart behind Mario. And then of course the characters drive on Rainbow Road, the most iconic type of Mario Kart track. And in the scene, there's a short part of the Rainbow Road theme from Super Mario Kart and SNES that plays. Also, Bowser's enemies launch a green shell from the Mario Kart games, which bounces off and hits several carts. And then one of the Koopas throws a bob-omb, also an item in the Mario Kart series, before the Koopa is knocked aside by Cranky Kong. And then the blue shell Koopa, just like in the games, rams through and passes anyone in its way until it can get to first place, which is Mario, so it will stop at nothing to get him. Then also Mario drifts and sparks come out like in the Mario Kart games, and he seems to get a speed boost as well. And then Mario jumps across part of the track to another part, which is probably a reference to the infamous Mario Kart 64 shortcut, where you can skip a large part of Rainbow Road. And then again with anti-gravity, Mario's kart goes into anti-gravity mode when he goes upside down, just like Mario Kart 8. And when Mario stomps on the Koopas, you can hear the sound from Mario games that plays when you hop on a Koopa. Then Bowser's enemies, or these could be robots or something, they come in with what looks like clown cars from the Mario games to take and capture all the Mario and Donkey Kong characters. And then the giant eel from Super Mario 64, which is called the Unagi, shows up and swallows Mario and Donkey Kong. And here you can see there's a store with a blue spiny Cheep Cheep, along with another store with a POW block. And then you see bloopers briefly swimming in the water, and one of them is swallowed by the eel. Then the blooper gets stuck to Donkey Kong's face, and this is in a way referencing Mario Kart, where you get blinded by blooper ink and can't see when a blooper lands on you. And then Mario and Donkey Kong, they blast out of the eel in a rocket barrel from the Donkey Kong Country Returns and Tropical Freeze games. Bowser's cake figurine here looks very similar to his Mario Odyssey amiibo figure. And then King Bob-omb from Mario 64 and King Boo from Luigi's Mansion are seen attending the wedding, and the music here is a rendition of the ending theme from Super Mario Bros. Also, one of the Shy Guys brings a Yoshi egg as a gift and puts it on the table. This could possibly be the same egg we see in the post-credits scene at the end, which I will get to later. And then Peach grabs and takes out an ice flower from Super Mario Galaxy and several other Mario games, then uses it to freeze Bowser and the machine, lowering the prisoners into the lava. And Bowser also has his full wedding outfit on from Super Mario Odyssey, and this is reminiscent of the final boss fight against Bowser in Mario Odyssey, where he shoots fire at Mario. And Mario performs his spinning in midair during a jump move, just like in Mario Odyssey, and he does his classic ground pound move too. And then as Mario is running, a short part of the intro to the athletic theme Super Mario World plays, and then it changes to the athletic theme from Super Mario Bros. 3, and this plays as Mario grabs a Super Leaf from Super Mario Bros. 3 and turns into the Tanuki suit and flies using the tail. Also, when Mario and Donkey Kong are climbing up to reach the wedding, the chill theme from Dr. Mario plays. And then Bowser launches a giant Banzai Bill from several Mario games to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom. And then later, when Mario gets back into the real world in Brooklyn, there's a car wash whose mascot is actually Balloon Fighter from Balloon Fight in the NES. Also at this part, there's a sign on a building that says Discon Hardware Co., which is a nickname for the Famicom Disk System, which was an add-on for the Famicom released only in Japan, and has a mascot of the system on the left of the sign as well. Then, as Mario and Luigi grab the Superstar, they both turn big and start glowing bright rainbow, and the Super Mario Bros. Superstar music starts. Then, Mario and Luigi, they grab Bowser by the tail, just like in Mario 64, then they throw him up to the sky where they defeat him. And then in this next part, there's a sign for an ice cream store which features the polar bear enemy from Ice Climbers on the NES. Then at the end, when people are celebrating, Giuseppe returns at the end, who is voiced by Charles Martinet, and does a classic wahoo and the classic jump. And then in Mario's bedroom, you can see part of the Ice Climbers polar bear, as I said before, on a poster in Mario's room, as well as the F-Zero poster, again, along with a poster of the Sprinter. This might be referencing track and field on the NES. And finally, at the end, at the start of the credits, Luminlee returns and then starts playing a saxophone rendition of the Super Mario Bros. Theme. I was almost wishing that he would play Super Bell Hill because of the saxophone, but it's still pretty cool. And then during the end credits, so I'll just go over like the few end credits songs that play and the several references that they have to music from Mario games. So, the end credits song, Press Start, this has several references including Super Mario Bros. 1-2 Underground, the sound of running with P-Speed in Mario Bros. 3, several Super Mario Bros. Sound effects, Super Mario Bros. 3 Athletic, Super Mario Bros. Main theme, Bowser's Laugh from Mario 64, the Hurry Up jingle from Super Mario Bros., Superstar from Super Mario Bros., and the Death jingle from Super Mario Bros. There's also the Level Complete song, which has the Super Mario Bros. Main theme again, a short part of the intro to Super Mario Bros. 2 Overworld theme, the Super Mario Bros. Underground theme, the Captain Toad theme, several Super Mario Bros. Sound effects, Super Mario Bros. 3 Hammer Bros. Theme, Super Mario Bros. Area Clear theme, Super Mario Bros. Underwater theme, and then Super Mario Road Castle, and then finally, Gussie Garden Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy. Many musical references, that's part of why I really love this soundtrack, and it's really great. Finally, at the very end, a Yoshi egg starts to crack. This is very likely setting up the sequel or next movie, which Yoshi will likely play a very large part in. And then I will just mention there are some unused songs in the soundtrack that contain musical references that didn't make it in the movie, such as World 1-1, which would have played during the Mario training scene, and this song has parts of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Castle theme, Super Mario Bros. Main theme, and there's also the song Drivin' Me Bananas, which was replaced by Take On Me, and as I said earlier, it's a rendition of the main theme in Donkey Kong Country. So yeah, anyways, that's it. That's all the references I found in this amazing movie. So fun to watch, and it's awesome the amount of things they really put into this movie. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know if I missed any references. What was your favorite reference in this awesome film? Did you like this film? Did you hate it? Hopefully you didn't hate it, because it was great. But that's your opinion. Yeah, anyways, like and subscribe. See you in the next video.